shrubs next to it. It's next to the entrance of your door or the porch. And you say, oh, I'd like to put some flowers there. So we're going to start from scratch, just like the homeowners would start from scratch.
Okay.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to scrape off the mulch, because we don't, we want to save that because we don't incorporate that. So first we'll scrape off the mulch, and then we're going to dig down about 8 inches and turn the soil over and add some amendments.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get that started.
And you notice there are a few weeds in here, but we'll take those out.
I can pull those out while you're doing that.
And that looks good.
Okay, it does.
You want to dig down 8 inches. And you'll see there's not as good soil there, but look, we've got
Look at the worms. Right.
Yay, so that means we've got good soil here.
Good deal.
And you just simply turn that over. It's nice and moist. Because we want to add amendments, but we're going to incorporate those next.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Now we're ready for our amendment.
Okay. So what do we have here that we're going to use?
This is some organic compost with cow manure in it, which has been decomposed, of course, but you can use your own compost, like, if you've made your own compost, that would be something to add.
Okay.
And it will loosen the soil, break up these large clods, and it will make the bulbs much happier in the ground.
Yeah, we want the bulbs to be happy. We do. Do you want me to grab that and sit it up for you?
I always use my gloves.
And we're just spreading this, right?
Spreading this. We've got 3 bags to cover this area, so we'll kind of evenly just divide them.
Let's start on this end. All right, Joellen, so we have down our manure. What do we do next?
I would like to add a little bit of bone meal.
Okay.
It can be any type of bone meal. This happens to be an organic one.
Okay.
And we will sprinkle that down on, we'll sprinkle that down on the bed, because we want to incorporate it now, because we want to amend it inside, because we need to get it down deep in the ground, like about at least 6 inches, so that the bulbs will benefit from it.
Okay. Now, what does bone meal do? What's the purpose of it?
It's mostly phosphorus.
Okay.
And that will help the roots to establish and the stems and the shoots to grow for the bulbs.
All right.
And it doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how much do you actually put down?
I kind of just sprinkle lightly, because we don't want to overdo it, but we do want an even coat on the ground. And very good. That's all we will need.
How about that?
And now we will incorporate it with the compost in the ground.
Okay.
And can I have the, yeah, that one.
Okay.
This is too heavy to do that with.
All right.
And it will look like this is a little bit raised, but that's the whole point, to get good drainage.
Okay. Drainage is so important. We don't want those bulbs to rot, of course.
I would say we're ready to set our bulbs and plant.
All right. And what kind of bulbs do we have today?
We have 2 different types of bulbs. We have the yellow daffodils, and we've got red impression tulips.
Okay.
We're going to set a few daffodils at the back, because they will stay in the bed and we won't want to disturb them.
Okay. Now this is going to be a real good lesson, because most folks don't know which end to put in the ground. So we're going to find out for Joellen which one to do.
Yeah. Well, the pointy end goes up. If you can see this right here, those are actually roots that have dried up, and it'll form new roots at the base here.
Okay.
So this end goes down, and the pointy end goes up, because that's where the stalk will come out with the daffodils. I like to set things out first and then plant.
Now, how far apart should they be? Now, does it matter?
I like to put daffodils about 12 inches apart because they multiply.
Okay.
And we'll put our tulips in front. And tulips are the same way. The fat part of the tulip is the bottom. The pointy end is the top. Roots will come out down at the bottom. Stalk will come up at the top.
Okay. Good deal.
And depending on how thick you want these, I want these to be an accent because we've also decided to put pansies on top of this for winter color. And these will come up in the spring through the pansies.
Through the pansies, okay.
So we don't want to plant them too close together. Now we're ready to plant, but if you'll notice, these are planted every other, kind of in a triangular pattern.
I noticed that.
If you put them that way, it'll look fuller and take up less plants. And they'll be evenly spaced.
Okay.
And you can plant with either a bulb digger or a trowel. And if you'll notice, both of these are marked at 4-inch intervals, so it tells you your depth of 4 inches.
Okay.
And most of these bulbs, 6 inches is all you really need. Our soils in this area are really heavy, and for drainage purposes, we would like to have them no more than 6 inches deep. Now that we've got the bulbs all planted, we have decided to put pansies on top of that for the winter color.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is put down a little bit of slow release fertilizer. And that's to feed the pansies all winter long.
Okay.
Then we're going to rake the mulch back over the dirt area.
All right.
And then we're going to set out our pansies and plant them. Now these, you want to make sure we don't get into the crown of the plant.
Okay.
Crown of the plant is at the soil surface. So we really don't want to plant these any deeper than the soil is here. So don't try to cover up the top of the plant because you'll bury the crown.
Okay.
And yet you do want enough soil. What I usually do is I scrape the mulch away and just put a little bit of mulch near the plant but not up against the stem.
How about that?
And that looks good.
Ta-da.
Now these will grow and fill in, and then the bulbs will come up in the spring and give us a completely different look.
That's gonna be nice. All right. But Joellen, we definitely appreciate this demonstration. And we
You're
can't wait
welcome.
to see the beautiful colors in the spring too for the bulbs.
I can't wait.
All right, thank you much.
You're welcome.